yourself down if you're having anxiety in these very weird times that we're living in. So to start, I'd like you to just, here's how we're going to sit. You're going to scoot up on your chair, and hopefully you have a chair like the one I'm sitting in, okay? Because I want you to be able to put both feet flat on the floor. You're just going to put your hands on your thighs, knees, wherever it's comfortable. You're sitting up nice and straight as you can. So there's a nice, and you're at the edge, so your butt is on your chair, but you're not scooched all the way back. And the reason we do this is because it helps us to stay alert. Even though we're trying to calm down, we still want to be in an alert position. And it helps us to breathe. And we'll talk a lot about breathing during the time that we spend together today. So the first thing we'd like to do is I'm going to take you through a guided breathing exercise. And if you're comfortable, I know that you're home and probably nobody else is around, but it's nice to close your eyes because that takes one more sense away so you can really focus on what you're doing. So the first thing is, I'd like you to make sure you're in our seated position, feet flat on the floor, hands in a comfortable place on your thighs or your knees. You're sitting up toward the front of your chair, and you're in a nice, your spine is nice and straight, or nice and straight as it can be, okay? And then go ahead and close your eyes, and we're going to take a minute or so, and I just want you to listen to your breathing. Just stay focused on your breathing. Don't anticipate anything that I might tell you to do. Just stay with me. We'll move through a whole bunch of different things during the next several minutes. So just close your eyes and focus on your breathing. As you're focused on your breathing, are you breathing fast, slow, or pretty average, what you would expect to be breathing, just sitting quietly? Just notice if you're breathing in through your nose or in through your mouth. And also notice if you're breathing out through your nose or out through your mouth. I'd like you to notice while you're breathing, if you're breathing high in your chest, or if you're breathing more toward the center of your body, your diaphragm area. next thing I'd like you to notice is on your inhale, I want you to count to yourself how long it takes you to inhale. So like you're inhaling maybe for 1, 2, 3, whatever the count is. And then notice how long you exhale, doing the same kind of a count. Now, if you have a good idea of that, I'd like you to try to equalize the inhale and the exhale. So if you're breathing in for 3, try to equalize it so you're breathing out for 3 or 4, whatever you're doing. Let's do that for a couple of breaths here. Continuing to breathe in equal breaths, whatever number of seconds that is for you. Check in and see if your breathing has slowed down since we very first started. Let's go ahead and breathe about 5 more times, and then I'll have you open your eyes slowly. Take one more breath in and out. And then go ahead and open your eyes. And resume just normal breathing the way that you would. Hopefully you already feel much calmer and you're slower breathing than when we started out. And I had you target a few things because we're going to talk about those things as we go through the rest of the class today. So that's a guided breathing exercise that is wonderful, but you usually have to have someone guide you through it. So I hope that if you need a nice guided breathing just to calm down, you'll come back to this part of the program and do that, because it's just such a great way to just calm down. Okay, so mindfulness is just being aware of what is going on around you. It means staying in the present moment. So hopefully during the breathing that we did, you weren't thinking about lunch or what I'm going to have for dinner, or it's a nice sunny day, I should get out and exercise, or anything like that. And you weren't remembering how wonderful life was back when you were in 6th grade, which it probably wasn't, but in any case, we are right here. It used to really annoy me when people would say, be mindful when you're brushing your teeth, because usually for me, brushing my teeth, I'm really busy and I'm trying to get out the door or into bed or whatever. But one day, it all of a sudden made sense that when you're brushing your teeth, you shouldn't be worried about getting out the door quickly. You should just be brushing your teeth. So that is actually a really good example of mindfulness. So we're going to do some breathing today, both to help us be mindful, and I've got a really great breathing exercise that I do that really helps calm down low-grade anxiety. And we're going to talk about breathing and why it's so important. The first reason why it's so important is that breathing, it has top billing in your brain. So no matter what else is going on, if you change your breath, your brain is going to notice, okay? If you start breathing high and fast, your brain's going to know something probably not very good is going on, or maybe you're really exercising a lot. But if you slow your breath, your brain's going to all of a sudden say, oh, wow, something's changing here. Something's going on. And your brain will pay a lot of attention to what's happening with that breath. So we did some things during that first, during the guided breathing that I asked you to notice. One thing that is really critical, the brain's not going to notice that you changed your breath if you're breathing through your mouth, okay? There is no connection to your brain through your mouth. There is a huge connection to your brain through your nose, and that's why we usually tell people to breathe in through their nose. And also, the nose is structured to do a lot of cool things, like humidify, or maybe even dry in certain, on certain occasions, or cleans out toxins that you might be breathing in. So the nose is really critical, and then it lets the brain know that you're shifting, you're changing gears. So if you're a mouth breather, you're going to have a lot of dryness in your mouth because you're breathing through your mouth. You're not telling your brain, you're not in charge of your brain, tell your brain what to do. So I'd like, if nothing else, I'd like you to really try practicing for the rest of your life, breathing in through your nose, okay? I'm not such a big, I don't worry that much about how you're exhaling. Sometimes it's really important to exhale in a certain way, but as long as you're getting that breath in through your nose, that's the most important thing, okay? So we're going to do, for our first exercise, we're going to do straw breathing. And straw breathing is where you take a breath in, and then you're going to blow out as if you're blowing out through a straw. Now, if we were in class, I'd pass you out each a straw. It would be a bendy straw, because those mean something cool is happening, okay? But you're not, so I don't even know where this straw came from. It's in the glove compartment, but you can see it, okay? So we're not taking deep breaths. The only time you should take a deep breath is when your doctor tells you to take a deep breath, okay? I know there's lots of teachers that say, take a deep breath for whatever reason. That really doesn't make sense because our body knows when we need a deep breath. One of those breaths that you just fill up your entire body with air, and your body will let you know that you need that deep breath. Normally, you don't need that unless there's something going on. So you're going to breathe in just normally. Okay, so I'm just going to go, so you just a normal breath in, so everyone try that. And then you're going to breathe out through, if you have the straw, and because you don't have a straw, unless you ran to the kitchen, got one, you're going to breathe out through pursed lips, so like that, okay? Like you're whistling, all right? Breathe in, and then breathe out. Okay, were you surprised at how much breath you had to breathe out? And that was just with a normal little breath that you breathe in. Okay, so straw breathing is really good because those long exhales tells your brain to calm down, okay? And it's the kind of breath that you can do anywhere. No one needs to know what you're doing. So if you're sitting outside waiting to go in the doctor's office, for example, those nice long breaths are going to calm you down, lower your blood pressure, and that's a good thing before you get the blood pressure test, okay? So that you're not elevating it just because you're nervous. And it tells your brain that you're just in a relaxation mode. Also, it's kind of hard to think about anything else when you're doing a nice, slow, long straw breath. Let's try that one more time, okay? Breathe in, just a normal breath, and then breathe out through pursed lips. And then just resume breathing. Okay? Now, if all of a sudden you needed a deep breath there, your body would have told you to. Okay? But normally we get by with what we need. All right. And So that's the first way to calm down. It's the straw breathing. You can do it anywhere. No one needs to know what you're doing. It's just quiet breathing out through pursed lips. All right. So number one, straw breathing. The next one that we're going to do, so breathing in through the nose, out through pursed lips. The next one are equal breaths. And we did this at the end of our guided meditation that we started class with. Equal breaths, again, tells your brain that you're slowing down. I do this breathing really every night when I get into bed. I have a very loud analog, the second hand, but I use it, and that's how I get to sleep quickly, because I can just, instead of focusing on that, I start to breathe the way that I'm going to teach you right now. Right, I had you decide how many seconds you wanted to do your inhale and your exhale. Some of you, that might have been 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm hoping it wasn't 1 or 2, because you're hyperventilating, you need to calm down, okay? I'm gonna have you try to aim for 4. Because we're going to learn how to do the 10-second breath, okay? You're gonna breathe in for 4 seconds. You're gonna pause at the top, which is not the same as holding your breath, you're just pausing. And then you're gonna breathe out for 4 seconds. And then you're going to pause at the bottom of the breath. Again, you're not holding your breath, it's just part of the normal breathing exercise, okay? So just kind of watch, I'm gonna do one for you. I'm gonna breathe out, I'm gonna breathe in for 4. Pause, and then breathe out. Pause, breathe back in. Okay, and that's how we're going to work with that. Okay, so if 4 is not comfortable with you, I don't want you to get stressed about not getting enough air or getting too much air, whatever's going on. Choose the count that's good for you. But the really powerful thing about the 10-second breath is it slows your breathing down from 12 to 15 breaths a minute, which is normal when we're just up doing stuff, down to 6. That is another powerful indicator to your brain that you need to calm down, you're focusing, you're being quiet, you're going to sleep, you want your alpha waves to change to beta waves, or whatever's going on in your life, okay? So we're going to try this for 10-second breathing. Try the 10-second, the 4, and see how you feel about it, and then we'll have you adjust that if you need to. So let all your air out, just go, okay, breathe in, pause, and breathe out. Pause, breathe in, pause, and breathe out. Pause, do it a couple more times in, out. One more time with me. Out. Okay, so that's the 10-second breath. Now, again, if that is uncomfortable for you, I'd like you to work toward that being your goal. But if you're doing 5, both in and out, and you're okay with that, and you're feeling good, as long as you get that 1 second at each end, top and bottom, or even 3, and then just adjust it, because it's a really great way to just calm down, get that breathing down from rapid breathing down to slow breathing. And then when you're falling asleep, and if you have some troubles with that, with or without a second hand, you simply count your breaths and pause, and then just keep doing that. I like to kind of breathe just a little bit louder than I normally might, just to let my brain know that I'm breathing. Okay, that something's going on here. And it's really a great way to help you fall asleep fairly quickly, because you're focused on counting and you're focused on breathing, okay? You're not thinking about all the stuff that happened during the day. You're not pre-planning everything that you're going to do in the morning. You're just breathing, changing those brain waves into sleep mode, okay? So far we've got straw breathing that helps tell the brain to slow down. Those long breaths are really important through the mouth. We've got equal breaths, or calming breaths. Our next breathing is going to be if you're feeling, let's talk about how we breathe though. Now, I asked you to notice if you breathe high in your chest or if you're breathing more in your abdomen, okay? There are people who breathe through their chest, and there's just a whole bunch of research that underlies that that's not a good way to breathe, okay? We really, even though you've done this for a lifetime, it's constantly telling your brain that something's the matter, okay? Because that's, the breathing is rapid, more rapid than if you're breathing from down here. It's kind of a fight or flight response, and so you're constantly, if you're one of those people that you just feel like you're constantly on edge, that might be an indicator that you're breathing through in your chest up here, okay? Now, it's really hard for me to do this anymore because I've not done it for a long time, but you would be, your chest comes out and it comes back in, okay? Now, if you're not convinced, there were a couple of studies that have been done that they were trying to figure out how, if there was one common thing that leads to people ending up in a hospital unit for heart attacks, okay? Cardiac, there we go. They've done studies, and the one thing that everyone has in common is that they're upper chest breathers. So what is the thing about not breathing from the chest that makes a huge difference? Well, the thing is that when we're breathing from our diaphragm, and your diaphragm fits right underneath your rib cage, okay? And plus you can tell people that you have a very well-defined diaphragm instead of COVID-19 weight gain, okay? So it fits right underneath, goes all the way around, and it's attached, your diaphragm is attached to your spine in two places, and it's attached to your heart through fascia. And every time that you're breathing down here, you're actually massaging your heart, okay? That seems to be the most critical thing to do, is using the proper kind of breathing so that you're massaging your heart, all right? So now, to do this, we're going to find your rib cage, okay? And we're just gonna make a diamond with our fingers, and then I'm going to, hopefully you can see my diaphragm come out and go back in, okay? Now, if you're not used to doing this, at the end of this session, you're not gonna be doing this perfectly. It's going to take time to relearn to breathe, but it's, as you can tell, really important to learn how to breathe this way, okay? And it's not just when you're taking a class, it's forever, okay? So you're going to, I'm gonna let my breath out. Okay, I'm gonna breathe in, and then out. Can you see it move? So when I breathe in, it's moving away from my body, and when I breathe out, it moves back in toward my spine, okay? So let's, which I know sounds completely nuts, you know, the reverse of the way that you might be used to doing it, but this is the way that we are supposed to do it. And if you watch babies breathe, that's how they breathe, okay? If you watch your pet breathe, that's how they breathe, okay? Let's try it again. So you've got your just underneath your ribs, okay? And you're focusing on your diaphragm moving out. And actually what happens from an anatomy point of view is that the diaphragm drops. And I used to think it was not that noticeable, but it actually has been documented that it can drop an inch, 2 inches, okay? And we can't feel our diaphragm except if you're like getting a massage and you really trust your therapist. They can kind of reach up underneath your rib cage and touch it for you so that you know that it's there, but it's really there, okay? So we breathe in, push, we're letting this come out, which drops the diaphragm, and then when we breathe out, the diaphragm comes back up under the rib cage. We move in closer to our spine, okay? Let's try it a few times, all right? Okay, let your air out, breathe in, and out. Breathe in, and out. Breathe in, and out. Okay, so again, if you're not used to doing that, it's going to feel weird. You're not going to master it in the next 15 minutes. It's going to take some time to relearn to breathe. So anytime you're just sitting, and especially if you're doing these kinds of breathing exercises, really focus on breathing right here instead of up here, okay? And if you catch yourself breathing up here, shift the focus. Sometimes I catch myself doing chest breathing if I'm jogging, for example, but the very next exhale, I can shift back down into my diaphragm. So once you've learned how to do this, it's easy to incorporate it into all of your ways of what you're doing. Okay, our next breathing exercise is going to be, I'm feeling a little anxious. The days are getting shorter, and this is true for me. As the days start to get shorter, I get kind of a low-grade anxiety. And there's a really easy way that works to stop that, okay? So say you're just kind of feeling kind of weird and a little anxious. You're going to stop whatever you're doing, okay? So if you're fixing dinner, you're just going to stop. You're going to breathe 5 times, and you're going to use 10-second breaths. And on the 5th exhale, you're going to do a straw breath, okay? So in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, 5 for the 10 seconds, in, and then on that last breath, you're going to breathe out through pursed lips, very long, and then you resume what you were doing, okay? So it's a pretty easy one to do. Let's try it, okay? We're feeling really a little anxious right now. Let's see if we can stop that with breathing, okay? So stop what you're doing. We're just going to take 4 10-second breaths. Ready? Practice the diaphragm breathing. And out. Breathe in. And out. In. Out. And in. And out. Breathe in for 4. Pause, and then breathe out through pursed lips. So it's going to be very long. And then resume what you were doing, okay? So you may have to do it more than one time. And if you've got severe anxiety, this probably isn't going to help. But for little bits of anxiety and nervousness, it's a really great way to break that pattern that's actually going on in your brain, okay? So what we're trying to do there is just stop the pattern from developing into a bigger anxiety episode, okay? So it's just when you're feeling low levels that this is really helpful, right? So that's just stop, breathe, resume, okay? For anxiety. So now we've got equal breaths, straw breathing. We've got if you're anxious, okay? And then we're going to finish up with breathing with using your body, okay? This is called sometimes walking meditation. If you're out walking, you can shift into that 10-second breath. You can shift into any breathing that helps you kind of calm down when you're walking. You can have your dog with you, whatever you're doing, but we're actually moving. And since we're on a chair, we're going to do 2 different ways. We're going to open and close our fists, and then I'm going to teach you a breathing that's called calming the qi. Qi is just energy from traditional Chinese medicine, but I think it's a very powerful way of breathing. But first we're going to just use our fists, okay? So you can just have them down. Again, this is one of those that no one needs to know what you're doing if you're trying to calm down a little bit. And you're going to open your hands up on an inhale and then close them back in on an exhale. We're going to use the 10-second breath again, okay? And you're going to work on that abdominal breathing. So you're trying to really move your diaphragm down and up and up and out, back, okay? All right, so ready? Have your fists closed. Let your breath out. Okay, breathe in. Pause, breathe out. Pause, breathe in. Breathe out. Let's do it a couple more times. And out. And one more time. so the power behind that is that movement takes away thinking. Okay, for some reason, moving the body really helps you stop thinking. That's a really easy way to do it. That's why Qigong classes are really great, because you're moving in a very gentle way. Stretching exercises are good if it's not power yoga. That doesn't help anybody calm anyway. Any of those kinds of classes are the kinds of classes that are using the body to calm you down, okay? The last one that I'm going to show you today is called Calming the Qi, which is spelled, depending on which tradition you're coming from, C-H-I, like Tai Chi, or Qi, Q-I, and it just means breath or energy of the body, okay? So we're going to do one that is actually a teacher has been using to help people calm down during this period of COVID. We're going to have our palms in front of us, okay? And we're going to breathe in, and we'll bring the palms up as we're breathing in to about chest level, and then you're going to swish them so your palms are facing down, and you are literally pushing down the energy that you're feeling that's not the kind of energy that you want, okay? So let's just try that. Okay, ready? Let your air out. Breathe in. Lip and push down. Breathe in. Breathe out. Imagine you're pushing that energy down out of your life. Breathe in and out. Excellent. So that's we do that kind of breathing 3 times. There's a lot of numerology in traditional Chinese medicine. The 3 times represents mind, body, spirit, yin, yang, balance, sky, earth, the person. But it also 3 times seems to be almost a magical way of focusing for 3 breaths and calming down. So we've covered a lot of material in a short amount of time today. Guided breathing, straw breathing, because longer breaths are calming breaths. We've got equal breathing, so we've got 10-second breathing, which is another good calming breath. We have stop, breathe, resume for low-key anxiety, nervousness. We've got moving your body in different ways to also calm down. And then the nice, wonderful final calm the chi breath that just is really wonderful. I use that a lot. It just is a great way of just finally calming down. So I'm hoping that I like to do several different breaths, so that at least one of them might be one that you'd be willing to really focus on and try for a period of time and see if that works for you. Thank you for joining me today on Mindful Breathing, and I hope to see you another time. Thank you.